Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. 2A Views, conservative news, and Craig, thank God it's Monday.
Oh, yeah.
I stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slope tin, he took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trump D dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trump D Trump. Come on and do the Trump D Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trump D Trump. Just watch me do the Trump D Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trump D Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trump D Trump. It's time to do the Trump D Trump. Yeah. My favorite dish is a double Big Mac.
That's right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in this fine Monday. Mike, how are we doing today?
Not too shabby, sir. Not too shabby. How about yourself?
I am doing phenomenal. I'm doing excellent, man. Monday's like a day where I've resolved myself to the fact that I'm gonna be working all week, so I'm down. I'm like energized, ready to go. Had a nice chill Sunday. I was ready.
Very good, very good. Hey, something little sad news just to acknowledge up front.
Mm-hmm.
One of the lines you and I quote all the time in here, sunshine.
Yeah.
The actress from there, she was only a kid in that movie, but Hayden Panettiere, she passed away this weekend, 36 years old. So far the news is not sure. There might be an overdose, but 36, 11-year-old kid. So one of our favorite actresses from one of our favorite movies. So I figured we should send out prayers to her family.
Most definitely. It's weird. I didn't realize how popular she was till I saw. It's like every news outlet is reporting it, and yeah, they're saying it's an apparent overdose. She's been battling with addiction, and you're making the transition from child actress to adult actress, and she actually had done a pretty successful job of doing so. But evidently, just addictions, certain things, the demons catch up to all of us. Sometimes we're not quick enough to outrun them.
I know she's been out on a book tour. Recently she's been doing appearances there, and one of my favorite quotes from one of the hugely popular shows she was on. It's about her. It's not her quote, but it was "Save the cheerleader, save the world." From
Heroes.
Yeah.
I do remember. In fact, it's funny because the thing keeps popping up on my. I think it's on Netflix now. I keep thinking, maybe I should.
Yeah, it might be time to watch that again. Yeah, it got a little squirrely in the last season, but the first two seasons were just solid. They were perfect.
The first two seasons were definitely solid, and I love that one. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yep, that's it.
All right, well, folks, it's Monday. We got some stuff to talk about. Some of it is probably going to be new news. Some of it's probably going to be old news, but it's all fun, so it's all worth talking about. But before we do, we're going to do like we usually do, and we're going to kick it off with a quick shout-out to our sponsors.
That's right. Let's say hey to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there. Get yourself some AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get over to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. Get yourself a nice little discount. That's The Rundown, all one word, no spaces, all caps. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
And folks, let me remind you once again, please take a moment and subscribe to the 2A newsletter, the place to get all of your Second Amendment news. All you have to do is go to 2anews.us. Click on the subscribe here button, put in your email address, and you will get all the day's top Second Amendment news delivered right to your inbox. Also wish to remind you, if you have not already done so, you need to do it now. We got people putting together reviews and all that fun stuff of Uncommon Sense on the present state of American government and the return to first principles, written by none other than your very own host, Craig DeLuz. Folks, it's a short read and it's a cheap book. You need to go there. You need to buy it. You need to learn yourself. Get you some learning in. Get you learning a little bit, something. Take a moment. Please go check it out. I promise you will very much enjoy this book. I've gotten a lot of really, really good compliments on it. My probably the most common line that people have referenced is that tyranny in the 21st century files paperwork.
That's right. That's very true. Very true.
That there be how it works. In any case, I also want to remind you, if you're watching your show during the 3 o'clock hour on the West Coast or the 6 o'clock hour on the East Coast, you are watching us live, which means we're taking your comments. We would love to hear what you have to say about the program, about the topic, about me, about Mike, whatever. In fact, all we ask is that you make it interesting, and the best way to be interesting is to disagree with us, because when you disagree with us, that gives us the opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow, is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
All we are saying is give peace a chance.
Give peace a chance so I can give you a piece of my mind.
Here you go. Piece of my mind, baby.
I'm gonna give you a place right there. Anyway, let's talk about getting folks a piece of their mind. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm starting to believe that if you are a registered Democrat, I'm starting to think that you may not be able to afford to give away much of your mind. Because if you believe, according to the 58% of Democrats, according to this poll, this CBS poll, well, you may not be that bright. There is a recent poll that was done of Democrats, and in this poll, it just turns out that something like 58% of Democrats, 58%, let me show you again, 58% of Democrats hold a positive view of socialism over capitalism. Let me read this to you. It says here, more than half of Democrats hold a more positive view of socialism as opposed to capitalism, according to a recent CBS News YouGov poll. The poll, which surveyed 2,287 adults in the United States between August 12th and 14th, found that there is a 26-point difference between Democrats' positive views on socialism and capitalism. Among Democrats, 58% were found to have positive views of socialism, while 32% have positive views of capitalism. The poll also found that 18% of Democrats have a negative view of socialism, while 50% have a negative view of capitalism. The poll also found that 24% of Democrats have no opinion on socialism, while 18% have no opinion regarding capitalism. Now, Mike, I want you to take a look at this, and here are those basic same numbers right here. And I gotta wonder, what do you suppose people are thinking when they are asked these questions? I mean, what could possibly be going through their heads?
So, first off, the question. Say the question again, Craig, so everybody knows exactly where we're going. The question is, what is your view of socialism, correct?
Right. Is your view of socialism positive,
okay,
negative, or do you have no opinion?
Your view. I mean, could you leave it up to any more interpretation? Your view could be based on the theoretical, program of socialism as defined in a book. Do you think it would be positive? Well, sure. In a book, it's utopia. It sounds great on paper. It's not until you put it in practice that it becomes the crap that we know it to be. And that's why I'd love to see the demographics on this, because if you're going to those people that are in the 18 to 21-year-old group and all they have is a little bit of a scholastic knowledge on what communism and socialism are, well, they sound great on paper, Craig. I mean, I think we could both admit that.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. First of all, if you break down these numbers even more, the in past polls that have been done, the number of folks, it's really largely also an age difference. So you're right. The younger people generally tend to be more positive about socialism. The other thing is that they really don't know what socialism is. I've literally heard some Democrats, some younger Democrats talk about, well, if you want socialism, well, it's like if you just want to go and get together and hang out with friends, that's what socialism is. That's what democratic socialism is. It's about connecting with people. It's about being around people. I'm like, no. See, that's called being social, not socialism.
That's
Socialism
Democrats socializing.
Right. That's socializing. That ain't socialism. Socialism is an economic model that says the government owns the means of production, meaning they tell you what you're going to do and they tell you how much you're going to get for doing that. Now, if you right now happen to be a burger flipper, maybe you work at McDonald's or you work at one of the other fine fast food establishments, and you earn outside of California near minimum wage on that job, and you want to earn more like a doctor, and you get, well, hey, I'm going to get just as much as the doctor gets, then you may think that's cool. That may sound peachy keen to you. But if you're the doctor in that scenario and you find out you're going to be earning as much as a burger flipper, maybe, just maybe, you're going to decide, you know what? I don't need to be a doctor. Maybe I need to flip burgers, right? The other thing is that what the burger flipper doesn't understand is he's not going to make as much as the doctor in the free market economy was making. In other words, they're not creating things equal, making things equal by lifting y'all up. No. Nay. The doctor, yeah, he'll earn as much as you. So it just means that you are all equal in your misery and poverty.
Yeah, it basically means no matter what the job, everybody's going to earn 40 grand. You're all getting 40 grand a year, whatever it happens to be. That doesn't matter if you're a surgeon, doesn't matter if you're a Supreme Court justice, doesn't matter if you're the chief fry cook at the McDonald's. You're getting 40 grand.
And believe it or not, and I know people are like, well, see, the problem is socialism, or the left in general, generally tends to think of man as man will always strive to be the best version of themselves. Conservatism or free market is based on the understanding that most people are self-interested. I did not say selfish. I said self-interested, meaning they're driven by positive incentives. They're driven by incentives, meaning, I'm probably going to work a little bit longer or a little bit harder if I know I'm going to get a little bit more reward for it, meaning money, right? It's a little bit more compensation so that I can take care of my family, right? So that I can contribute to my community. But for the most part, people don't just invent things out of the goodness of their heart. There's a reason why every major invention that's ever happened has happened in a free market economy, and that's because there's a payoff at the end, right? I mean, people get mad at guys like Elon Musk, but here's the deal. What Elon Musk did? What Elon Musk did, the same thing that Jeff Bezos did. He found a need and he filled it. And so much so that people were willing to give him money to do it. That's what free market economy is.
Yeah.
You got a need. I got a product, good, or service. I will provide that to you and you will compensate me for it. That's the free market. You don't have to. You can fill the need yourself. That's
it. But you're flipping burgers, and you think you should make the same as Bezos does and Elon Musk. So good luck with that.
Right. And by the way, that doesn't mean that there's not money in flipping burgers. It just means that you probably should own the restaurant, right? Flip enough burgers, save enough money to start your own restaurant, hire your own burger flippers, and then you're king of the burger flippers and you're making good money. That's the free market.
Be the master chef, be a general manager, manage a region of restaurant, whatever it may be. Or do like most people do at minimum wage jobs. You go there and you learn basic job skills so you can go out and get a real job based on your education.
Hello.
Or your motivation. Education or motivation. Yeah.
Or motivation. Or maybe you just have a witty idea and you just need to figure out how to make that witty idea come to life. America, unlike most other places in the world, America is the one place in a free market economy is where you can actually Be rewarded for your hard work, for your ingenuity, for your great ideas. And by the way, for taking risk. Because that's the other thing that you got to do. You got to take risk. When you go to school and you take all these darn classes, it's a risk. I get it. In some cases you're borrowing money, in some cases you're just spending money, but you're hoping that with this education it's going to turn around and reward you financially. Now, for those of you who decided that you were going to go get your degrees in ethnic studies or Chicano studies or women's studies or underwater lesbian trans basket weaving, yeah, you took a big risk. I'm just gonna tell you took a big risk because ain't no jobs out there for you. Not with that.
Well, under the last administration there was, but not in the real world.
Not in the real world, and that's the thing. See, conservatives generally tend to govern based on the real world. Democrats tend to govern based on the world as they wish it were.
There you go.
And
utopia. It
don't quite look like that. Or as a couple of folks here, a great talk show host here out of Sacramento, they call it unicornia, or as we call California, Cal unicornia.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And by the way, speaking of Cal unicornia, recently, Mark Cuban, known liberal Democrat, but also very successful entrepreneur, had a very, very stark message for the people who are pushing the billionaire tax here in the state of California. And the statement that he had was really kind of simple. If you really want to know how good or how solid this idea that you have is, all you need to do is take a look at one map, right? And what is that map? I will let you know. It says here, California voters are set to decide whether to slap a new tax on the state's billionaires as IRS data show thousands of taxpayers and billions of dollars in income are already flowing out of the Golden State. The outflow is adding fuel to the debate over California's proposed billionaire tax, with Mark Cuban warning Saturday the measure could drive not only wealthy residents, but investment and startups out of the state. Cuban's warning came amid a heated back and forth with Democratic Representative Ro Khanna, who defended the proposed tax. The billionaire investor threatened to steer future of investments away from California if the measure moves forward. Now, this map right here, this goes to show you. So all of the places that are in blue, right? So if I go right here, look at the dark green. So these are places where investment dollars are moving to, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. These are lost. So these are number of residents lost. But look here in California. This is where it's the worst. These are like, here we go. San Bernardino County lost almost 8,500 residents. Riverside County, 89, almost 9,000. 9,400 residents have left San Diego County. Ventura County, 3,800. Santa Barbara County, 1,300. That's not even a big county. In the meantime, you look at all these counties over here. Look, they've gained, lost. None of these places have lost anybody. But right over here in California, all of these people, all of this right here, all the way, look over here up in New England, you see all these people, all these places that are basically losing residents as they've decided that they're going to increase the taxes on, quote unquote, the wealthy. And by the way, it's not just resulting, once again, as he said, it's not just resulting in taxpayers, but it's also resulting in investors leaving. Because by the way, a lot of those taxpayers, yeah, they were investors.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see where they went. I mean, they went to those free states where they're not taxing them, they're not destroying them, they're not killing them, and they're fleeing from those Democrat metropolises. Craig, the other story last week, and I don't recall if we touched on it or not. What you got some of your Hollywood studios there saying, "We're done. You do this, and we leave, and we're taking everything. We're taking production out. We're taking people out. I know the stars live here. Well, guess what? We very rarely shoot here in California anyway. So what difference does it make?"
Yeah, and well, you just hit the nail on the head. They're not. We were just watching this Spider-Man movie. I think they filmed much of that in Canada, right? I mean, yep. Canada, as high tax as Canada is, when the film industry comes in there, man, they grant them all sorts of tax breaks in order to encourage them to film there. There's a reason why right now a buddy of mine moved to Tennessee and is now making films full time in Tennessee because guess what? They have very, very low taxes there. Georgia, Texas, all of these places that have lower tax burdens, that's where people in the film industry are moving. And companies, right now, companies are less who are in California. Those that are not moving out, those that are looking to expand are not expanding in California. They're not. They're in fact, they're downsizing in California so that they can expand in other states. Everybody has an output. I get it. It's beautiful here, right? The weather's great. It's proximity to everything is phenomenal. But everybody has their ouch point. And in particular, if you are a business owner, you cannot stay in place in the business where you're losing money. You just can't. Eventually, you have to decide, I got to go somewhere where I can make some cash. And more people are realizing that that's just not California.
And not pay my burger flipper $20 an hour.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, my own company, there's a reason why I don't expand. I could have a much bigger PR shop than I have right now. I honestly could, but I don't want to be an employer in the state of California. I don't want to deal with all the taxation and regulation that's required in California. When I used to do structural steel, I knew a dude, he was a rig welder, right? He had owned his own structural steel company. It got so burdensome with taxes and regulation and OSHA and all of that. He shut down the business, kept his two best trucks, became a rig welder, and dude, he made take home more money as a rig welder in 6 months than he did running his business the entire year. And he would he'd rig weld for 6 months and then go to his place in Wyoming and hunt for 6 months. And he was living the dream. He's like, this is what California did to me, so I'm gonna take full advantage of it, I guess.
That's how you do it. That's what they're doing.
And a lot of folks doing it.
Gavin Newsom and the politicians there in California think they're never going to run out of people's money.
Well, I agree, but at least I will give Gavin Newsom some credit because so many of his friends, bigwig friends, are rich. Even he knows the danger that he has created because they're creating. Because the Democratic Party is split in California on this. There's a lot of people who have a fundamental understanding of economics and tax policy who know that this is a bad idea, and they see the problem is a lot of the damage is already done. People aren't waiting for it to pass; they're leaving. And
the governor's own in-laws moved to Florida last year.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, Mike, these are people that have the ability. They don't have to wait till their house sells here in California. They can move to another state, buy another place, and wait for their place to sell here, and they're already residents somewhere else.
Yep.
Those counties that I just mentioned to you, those are some of the richest counties in the country. And you see how many residents they're losing. I want you to think about that. Santa Barbara County, right, lost 1,300. How many of those 1,300 people do you think are bordering on being millionaires and billionaires?
Probably most of them.
Yeah, and there's a reason why Wells Fargo moved their asset management, their wealth division, from San Francisco, California to Miami, Florida. Can you guess why? To follow their customers. Yeah, to follow their customers.
Yeah. Taking their talents to South Beach.
Yeah, here's the thing I will warn all of y'all, those you there in Florida too. Just remember, not everybody who's leaving California left their stinking thinking here.
Yeah, that's we try to give them a week in the camp when they first get here at the border to change that, but we'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, so just a warning, just know. I mean, but there's a reason why. Like folks I know when they move to another state, one of the first things they do is they get over there to the DMV and they get their new plates. I don't want these California plates on my car anymore.
Yep.
It is funny. All right, moving right along. The Department of Justice is rolling out a new process for prohibited persons to have their gun rights restored. This being reported by Cam Edwards over at Bearing Arms. And it seems to be fairly well received. It says here, it took longer than anticipated, but the Justice Department has officially rolled out its new process for felons and others prohibited from possessing firearms to have their Second Amendment rights restored. The DOJ first announced its intent to provide an avenue for rights restoration last March, and in July published its proposed rule detailing the process that individuals would have to go through. DOJ says it received more than 15,000 comments during the public comment period, with 91% of them generally supportive of the idea. Technically, there's been a process to have federal rights restored for decades, but that avenue has been defunded by Congress since the 1990s. The DOJ determined that it had the authority to conduct the restoration rights process itself instead of the program being administered by the ATF, and the new pathway to rights restoration should be available soon. According to the DOJ's new website, 30 days after the final rule is published, DOJ will invite candidates to apply. After another 6 weeks, up to 5,000 candidates can have their own before the window is briefly closed. On 120 days after the rule is published, the window will open again, and 500 more candidates can apply, with a new $30 application fee kicking in. The DOJ anticipates that 330,000 people will apply to have their rights restored in the first year that process is in place. So presumably, it will open up to all those who wish to apply at some point after the initial 120 days. It says some categories of criminal offenses will come with presumptive denial, sometimes without an end date, and others with fixed period of a presumptive denial. A 922 G3 disqualification based on marijuana use does not come with any presumption of denial, for instance, but a disqualification for another drug use comes with a 5-year presumption of denial. So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that if you get convicted of a felony and you've lost your gun rights, put it this way. Number one, if it's a non-violent felony, then there's a good chance that you will eventually get your gun rights back. If it's a violent felony, or if it's alcohol related or drug related, it could be, what they're saying here is basically it could be delayed, but it's not going to be presumed to be denied. I'm assuming if it's violent felony, then it's presumed that, or domestic violence, that it's presumed that it will be denied. I think that the founders and the Constitution never first of all, a bunch of things are felonies now that never would have been felonies under the founding fathers. Felonies were reserved for excessive, violent people in situations, and now I think what they're trying high crimes, right? And I think now what they're trying to do is, they never meant for people to lose their right to keep and bear arms. In fact, you get your voting rights back after you've gone completely through the process as a felon in most states. So this is basically just a restoration of that, or it's moving gun rights up with voting rights in that respect. And I, for one, support it.
Yeah, it comes down to, again, the where's the line, right? And if it's a nonviolent felony, like you said, most states now it's an automatic thing. The feds are just going to put it on paper, put the process on paper, so you can make sure you get it done. It's going to come down to a case, Craig, where they're going to have to define where that line is. I know that North Carolina right now has a case that's going through the process there, that their state Supreme Court is trying to determine where that line is for restoration of Second Amendment rights. So it's probably going to take a case like that, getting pushed all the way up to the Supreme Court to figure out what it is, or if it's maybe it just ends up being a special circumstance after this line. Everybody on this line is automatic and below, and everybody above this line has got to be special circumstance, get a hearing, that kind of thing.
I think it's going to wind up being, if it's violent or domestic violence related, and apparently it might even be drug related. If it's not merit, well, I don't know. It's somewhere in there. It's going to be included, right? Yeah. I think you got to look at gang violence. I think you got to look at. They'll probably try and throw hate crimes in there.
But and that's what I think. I think it's going to be here's the line. These people below this line for these listed crimes get it back, upon application, and everybody else has to have a hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Because once again, the whole idea is we don't want dangerous people to have access to firearms. That's really what it's all about, right? That's what the supposed prohibition is supposed to be about. If I wrote a check for $950 and got convicted of a felony for writing a bad check, that does not mean that I'm a violent person.
Yeah. Again, there's a circumstance for everything, and I think the easy ones will be gimmies, and the other ones will have to have a hearing.
Right. Nope. I'm good. I'm all for it. So, sounds like good things are happening when it comes to gun rights.
Yep.
This next one here, this is an interesting because there's a reporter came out and was like, when I'll let him speak for himself, but this has to do when it comes to the WNBA. And basically, dude is just calling out the WNBA and wondering, why don't we have more men commenting on WNBA? And I'll save my thoughts for afterwards.
Why are all the color analysts and studio hosts women? Women have served in a variety of positions on national NBA broadcasts. Why shouldn't there be diversity on national WNBA broadcasts? What are the networks afraid of? The only males you will find on a national broadcast now are young up-and-comers doing play-by-play. Is the WNBA not worthy of being discussed and dissected by a variety of voices and perspectives in the same way the NBA is? There are some smart basketball-savvy women, both in the studio and the broadcast booth, but I don't hear a whole lot of differing opinion or debate. It all comes off as safe and monotone and cookie-cutter, especially when it comes to controversial topics. All of it feels like a girls' club, the media protecting the league from real scrutiny or critique. I'll ask again, what are they afraid of?
Well, I think the first thing to be afraid of is men aren't watching the WNBA. At least not straight men are not watching the WNBA. So they probably don't have a large group of people to have commentary on it because, they're having a hard time finding guys who are actually watching it. But this guy, so he's a reporter, sports commentator, and he's like what feels like a girls' club. And I'm like, okay, I think you lost a lot of women right there when you called it a girls' club. Not saying, just saying. But it's on his podcast. What's dude's name? He's Rick Bucher. Is that dude, the dude who had that particular comment. Anyway, Mike, I'm real curious to hear what you have to say. I think just a lot of it is just, men aren't watching, so ain't a whole lot to say.
And as a white man, I could tell you, I'll say the controversial thing, no desire to watch at all. I just, I barely watch regular basketball anymore. This is playoff time or something, but to watch these women, listen, when your coaches get on and say stupid things like they can't define the difference between a woman and a man, I'm not watching it even more. I mean, if I could negative watch you, I would. That's what's going on. Listen, if you didn't have Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham in there, doing their social media thing, I don't think I would know any other players' names out there. It's just, I've said this to you on here, Craig. It's about the most racist thing I've ever seen is to watch the WNBA.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that watching straight white women get assaulted and mugged on national TV or regional TV isn't entertaining to you?
I think the term's cable access, Craig, is what you're looking for.
Cable access. It's the only place where pay-per-view means they pay you to watch.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, why? I mean, maybe because the announcer doesn't want to make minimum wage. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to be there. I can't tell you why.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, let's be honest. WNBA is it is the definition of DEI. It really is, because it's a league that's never made a profit, that's never earned a penny. I won't say it's never earned a penny. It's brought in revenue. It just loses more money than it brings in every year. Yeah. Every year. And once again, I don't know what y'all think. If you the reason why, and I will say this, I will say that I've gained a greater appreciation of female sportscasters, or at least commentators, in particular in MMA. There's been some really, really good female commentators in mixed martial arts. In football, it has gotten a lot better. I will say, when they first started to come out, I was not a big fan of female color commentators because they clearly did not demonstrate a fundamental understanding of what they were talking about. They just seemed like they were making it up and they were using someone else's words. But now there are a lot better commentators that are out there. Even in basketball, we have a color commentator here that does the Kings, and she's as good, if not better, than most of the guys who are doing it in most. Now, she ain't amongst the greatest, but she's pretty darn good and pretty darn knowledgeable. But I agree with him, though. It's like, well, if you're going to do that, well, then if you want diversity, maybe you need to get some dudes doing commentary on the WNBA. The problem is, I think they just don't. I mean, they may not like what they say. Also,
Folks, I want to point out, though, although this is a good story, I'm pretty sure Craig only selected this story because he knows of my hatred for the word commentator. It's not a real word. We make it up. Right? You can have commentary. You can make comments. That doesn't make you a commentator. It makes you a commenter, is what it is. In fact, in English-speaking Europe, the word commentator does not exist. They will tell you that the announcer is the commenter. He is the commenter. He does commentary.
And let us just note that Mike. Just notice that Mike is deferring to Europe.
I said English-speaking Europe, which would be, but it's like, hey, Craig, why don't you and I go?
What country do they still speak English in Europe?
Craig, what I say to you, hey, Craig, why don't you and I go commentate on the game? Yeah. No, I don't go commentate on the game. That would make me a commentator. I comment on the game. That makes me a commenter.
I'm sorry, Mike is deferring to English. They don't speak English in Europe anymore. It's all Arabic now.
It's
Durka. Women's basketball Durka.
Durka basketball jihad.
Basketball jihad Durka. If y'all don't get it, no, if you're watching this show, you get the joke. I'm sorry. All right, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code of the rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your Hog Holster today. This first one here, let's talk a little bit more about the billionaires tax. I think this comes from the Babylon Bee, but I saw this video and I'm like, oh, this is cool. So let's check it out.
SpaceX has made me a trillionaire. Isn't that neat, Mr. Sprinkles? You can say that again.
Oligarchy.
You need something.
I hear you have $1 trillion.
Yes, I am a trillionaire, but I don't actually have $1 trillion.
I want it!
There's no money.
Give it to me!
Hand over the trillion, paleface! Come back with my money!
Where are you going with our $1 trillion, comrade?
I keep telling you, there is no money. He's hiding it.
I bet he swallowed it. Let's cut him open and take it.
I don't have $1 trillion. All that wealth is in my rocket company. He said the $1 trillion is in his rocket.
Let's go get it.
Let's start smashing stuff until we find the $1 trillion!
Good thinking there, Mr. Sprinkles. Those people were scary, but luckily they were extremely stupid. Now let's go swim in the money vault.
The $1 trillion is all mine.
You left your name on my phone.
Do you think Mr. Sprinkles there poops in the money ball?
Oh yeah,
like a giant litter box.
Like it's a big giant gold litter box. Oh, it was hilarious. But that's almost as fun as this next one. This is about the founder of Liberals Anonymous. Gonna love this one.
Why don't we go around the group and share one fun fact about ourselves? I'll go first. I'm a recovering liberal, and I'm 6 months sober. Wow, that is... I haven't wished death on anyone at all, actually. Okay, wasn't expecting that. I, too, am a recovering liberal, and I'm artistic. That I was expecting. But nothing wrong with it. God chose special people just like you to have superpowers. You know what my favorite show is? Love on the Spectrum. I think he said artistic. Oh. My name's Nick Peterson, and I'm the founder of Liberals Anonymous. I started this with the hopes of chipping away at the mental health crisis in America. Figured I'd start by putting flyers around the neighborhood on houses with flags. Lucky guess. Last week I had a conservative garage sale, but nobody showed up. Probably all busy prosecuting nobody, or on the phone with Mitch McConnell. Welcome, everyone. I will be leading you on this life-changing journey to recovery. Nobody asked my pronouns when I came in? Right, because we left that nonsense in the past, along with his friends Trust the Science and Latinx. But I see you all have still managed to shoehorn that in. I have a question. What qualifies you to run this? Good question. A brain. Why are we meeting in your garage? Apple started in a garage. Amazon, Google, garage. We are meeting in a garage because the local churches said no. Apparently, I am not qualified to lead what they said sounds like an exorcism. I have another question. All right, shoot. Point of privilege, I am triggered by the unintended tone aggression of the word shoot. Nobody cares. Well, dismantling offensive language begins with awareness. In my lived experience, systemic microaggressions do include violent speech. Good gosh, y'all had to be a bunch of lunch money generators. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And that's what I grew up on. These window lickers are called the wrong pronoun and they're on psych meds the rest of their lives. In this group, we'll be focusing on the 4 basic truths, or PONY. Put facts before feelings. Other people's money is not yours. Nobody needs to know what we do in the bedroom, especially children. And you're not a victim. I am actually a victim of climate injustice. You are a victim of a cerebral injustice. I try to use acronyms for learning purposes. They have the brain capacity of the scarecrow. The wheel is spinning, but the hamster's dead. I was gonna use acknowledge, interpret, develop, support, but nobody wants a certificate that says congratulations on completing AIDS. Before you leave, what's one thing we want to work on this week? The only thing I struggle with is virtue signaling on the internet. Struggle or excel? I read you should log off and touch grass. Brilliant. Smartest thing anyone has said. A few minutes ago you called him Rain Man. That is not what I said. I pledge to take fewer booster shots. You're still doing that? Doctor said my heart looked like a medicine ball. That's not. I'm gonna try your facts over feelings thing. Great! I just have to wait until the media tells me what they are. Oh. This might not work.
That is needed. That is very much needed. Liberals Anonymous. All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get yourself the AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber. They also have a full line of rifle, shotgun, and pistol barrels for all different types of firearms. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
Once again, folks, please take a moment and visit our sponsors. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them. Tell them it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. With that, well, this program is a wrap. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.